Hi, everyone. We have author Trish Ahjel Roberts here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi, how are you? So my name is Trish Ahjel Roberts, and I always want to tell this story behind my name, and usually nobody asks me, so I'm going to use this opportunity to tell you. So Ahjel is my middle name, and when I wrote my first novel, which was released back in 2015, I didn't want to use my last name because I was working a full-time job, and it was kind of like spicy and sexy. So so I was just using Trish Ahjel. And then in the past year, I actually quit my job to work on my business full time, which includes my books and also life coaching and plant-based retreats for women. So I decided I could use my whole name. So now I use the full name Trish Ahjel Roberts. And I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. I live in Atlanta now for the past 13 years. I have oh my God, my daughter's going to be 20. And I live with my little dog who I want to show you only because just in case he pops up while we're talking, you'll know to expect him. But he's not with it at all. Like, why are you bothering me? Say hi to the people. There he is. All right, so you got a glimpse. That's Cooper. I call him my canine assistant. Putting him back under his blanket.
So tell us, what inspired you to start writing?
So I feel like I've always been writing. Like I tried to write my first novel when I was in elementary school. And I still remember telling my second grade teacher that I wanted to be a poet. And she was so sweet. She was like, "You could totally be a poet." And I was like, "You don't know my parents. I can I can't go home and tell them that I want to be a poet." But I've just always written, whether it was, keeping a diary back in the day when we used to have the little locks on it and stuff, or writing poetry and writing novels over the years. My first book was completed in 1995, so it's
Wow.
been a while.
Okay. And how many books have you wrote?
So the one that we're talking about today, which I will show you, it's called Thinking Outside the Chrysalis, A Black Woman's Guide to Spreading Her Wings. So this is my second print book. And I also have an ebook that's called Black Vegan Life Guide to Self-Care.
Okay.
It's available on my website. And I'm releasing a book this week. I'm expecting it to go live in the next probably day or so. And it's actually based on the same principles in this book, which is my self-help memoir. Um, but it's called 12 Steps to Mind-Blowing Happiness, a journal of insights, quotes, and questions to juice up your journey. Um, so can I talk about this a little bit?
Yes, let's go. You also sent us a copy, so thank you
Oh,
very
yay!
much. Yes.
Awesome. So this is a self-help memoir, and kind of how I started writing it. I had just learned so much stuff over like 20 years practicing yoga, 10 years studying Buddhism, and just like raising my daughter and living life, that I really wanted to share it with people. So in this book, it has what I call 12 drops of wisdom or nectar. And then after creating this book, some people were asking me for more, like how to work through some of the information. And I decided to create the companion novel, the companion journal. Um, and I realized that the 12 drops of nectar or wisdom in my book are really steps towards happiness. And the other thing I realized was that nobody knows what a chrysalis is. I don't know what a chrysalis is, but apparently I'm the only one. And people understand, you know, the language of happiness more than they understand what a chrysalis is. So do you know what a chrysalis is?
I do not.
See, there you go. That's my point. So a chrysalis is a butterfly cocoon, right? And I've been partially obsessed with butterflies for like a long time.
Yeah, I feel like I should know that because I love butterflies.
Aren't they amazing? I mean, just they honestly, they blow me away. Just this idea that you could be, I mean, I still don't really get it, honestly, that you could be a caterpillar one day and the
Right.
next day you're just like,
Right.
you know what I mean? But so the chrysalis is a stage where they're in the cocoon. And I always wonder, like, do they know they're going to be a butterfly? Like, what are they thinking when they're in there? You know? So I guess I'm a girl who loves metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
And I just took the metaphor of the butterfly and really started building it out.
So did you experience any writer's block?
I haven't. I don't know. I mean, I don't really think I've ever experienced writer's block, which is kind of a weird thing for a writer to say. I have a novel that I'm working on now where sometimes I get in the weeds with the structure, but it's not like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
With this particular book, a lot of times I was so in the flow writing it, I almost felt like someone else was writing it. So no, I didn't have that experience.
Okay.
Thankfully, because it doesn't sound like it's any fun.
Right.
The word block, I don't
That's
like.
definitely a good thing.
I don't want any blocking, no.
And how long did it take you to finish this book?
It took right around nine months.
Okay.
Which I thought was cute because it's kind of my baby.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And where can we purchase your book?
So it is available on Amazon, and it's also on my website, which is honeybutterflies.com. So it's spelled kind of funny. So it's honey butter FLYZ.com.
Okay. And what do you hope readers take away from reading your book?
So, I mean, there's so much in there. Can I walk you through some of the drops a little bit?
I was just looking, I was starting off with preparing the caterpillar.
It's juicy. So I talked about the 12 drops, and the reason I call them drops was when I was on my kind of butterfly investigation. I was like, what do they eat? They eat drops of nectar. So I was like, oh, we all kind of need to be fed.
Yes.
When it's not just food, it's what we consume and what we bring into our mind and our spirit. So the first drop is about healing. The second drop is spirituality. The third is connection and creating a village or a support network. The fourth is self-awareness, authenticity, and self-love. For me, like I hear a lot of things, like I hear a lot of people saying, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. But I don't hear a lot of people saying, who am I, who am I, who am I, And I've had, especially working as a life coach, I've had a lot of women come to me and say, I really don't know who I am. Like, are we who people tell us we are? So that's actually one that I have a lot of conversations around. The fifth one is about anger. There's a lot of conversation around that as well, because, well, you'll get to it, Kia, but and I'm saying your name right, it's Kia?
Yes.
Am I saying it right? Okay. I was like, I don't want to mess that up. But I don't think anger has any purpose. You know what I mean? It's like, for most of my life, I thought it really did. But when I realized that it didn't, like, it's a game changer. And it doesn't mean that you're going to like everything that happens, but anger tends to turn pain inward, you know what I mean? So that you end up harming yourself and potentially other people. Drop 6 is about generosity, really sharing your talents. Drop 7 is about releasing attachments. Are you feeling this?
I am.
It's such good stuff. Drop 8 is surrender.
Wait,
Not trying to
I
control.
was getting ready to say, drop 7. I love how you have no more bag lady. You got
Oh,
those.
yeah, yeah.
Throw some of that in there.
Oh, well, that's true because I'm giving you what they are and not what the titles are. Yeah, my titles are all, they're all kind of cool. But yeah, no more bag lady, right? Because first of all, we all know that song.
Yes.
Bag lady, Erykah Badu, right? And the first time you heard it, you're like, what's she talking about? I don't have any bags. And then you're like, oh, those bags. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're always, we all kind of have a little, hopefully not too big bag that we walk around with.
Right.
It's just a matter of being careful that we don't start carrying too much, right? Did that help? Was that good?
It was.
No more bags. Drop 8 is about surrender. For me, I used to just always be trying to control everything, like I was going to make stuff happen. I was going to grind the hardest and hustle the this and, burn the midnight oil. I was going to force things to happen the way I wanted them to happen because I knew what I wanted to happen, And then I was like, what am I doing? What's happening? I'm making myself crazy. And then I sometimes I almost feel like when you chase stuff that much, that it runs from you.
Yeah.
So I've learned to just kind of just be okay with whatever happens. Because in that way, you're not miserable all the time. Right. You can actually be happy when something goes where you think you want it to go. Not. And then a lot of times we think we know what we want and then we get it and we don't like it anymore. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
I'm like, I have to have this man job, whatever, fill in the blank. And then you get it and you're like, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
How do I get rid of it? Right. And not for nothing. Sometimes, I don't know, at least in relationships that I've been in, they're not always easy to get out of. I think it's easier for men than women. With women, sometimes we gotta we have to creep. We have to kind of find a way to, who is it? Wendy Williams would always say, hatch a plan.
Yes.
I don't know, I'm not sure. It's like, hatch a plan.
That sounds like Wendy
too. So the rest of it is patience. These are all just great lessons to me because patience was something that I just hated even spelling the word. Compassion and working with passion, which I think even if you have a job that you don't really like, you should have at least a few hours a week where you get to do something that you like, or that you're really passionate about. But in order to do that, you have to figure out who you are and what you want and what you like, which takes us all the way back to the beginning of where we started, And the reason I start the book with healing is because before we can figure out who we are and what we like, to do all the other great stuff to make ourselves happy and really fulfilled and joyful, you got to heal, because you can't, if you've been through a lot of trauma or even a little bit of trauma, or even if you're just a regular Black girl in the US, you've got to probably work through some stuff first before you can start building on all the juicy goodness that's available, inside of you. I talk a lot about stillness in the book. Okay. I had seen a interview with Oprah, I think it was 2008, where she said, if you want to move forward in life, you have to learn to get still. And I was like, what is Oprah talking about? So I wanted to tell you that along with the book, there's links to affirmations and meditations, and also music playlists that are in line with each of the chapters or kind of drops of wisdom. And the stillness is really like the meditation. That's one way that you can be still. There's also a yoga nidra practice online. Yay! Yes. The other ones that I reference in the book are different types of yoga. So usually people think of yoga as, let me see.
Mhm.
you know, like your
Mhm.
warrior poses and your, let me see, I'm looking at myself in the camera. I'm like, my sun salutations, you know, all that stuff. But yoga is not just physical exercise. So there's a lot that goes on internally. Some of it is different ways of breathing, what we call pranayama breath work, which I would consider a stillness practice because you're sitting still and focused for that. It could also be like slow postures where there's some postures where you can hold them for 5 or 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Obviously, they're relaxed postures. You're not standing on one foot for 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
But and the interesting thing is, it seems easy, but a lot of people really have a hard time slowing down. Like it's a lot easier to go do all of this, you know, and then run 3 miles or whatever. But if you ask someone to sit still for 10 minutes, they're like, no, I can't do that because I got all these things to do.
Right.
And even if they're sitting still, it's like you got the grocery list and your to-do list, and oh, you got all this stuff going on in your head. So the first time I heard Oprah talk about that, I was like, what's she talking about? You know, I was like, I don't have time for this, Oprah. I got things to do, you know? And it wasn't until 2010 where I was in a relationship I wasn't happy with, the job that I was working as a financial advisor, wasn't going well. My boss was racist and terrible. And I finally was like, you know, I got my computer out, you know, you bang the keys. I was like, I'm gonna find meditation. So I just like Googled meditation, and this place popped up out here in Atlanta that I went to, and that was like the first time that I meditated. And I talk about a lot of these things in the book. But yeah, it changed my life. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing. I would have never thought. It's almost the opposite of what you would think. Because like we think that if we do things faster and hustle harder, that we'll like get happier. But sometimes you just need to sit down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yours can be found on your website?
Yeah, so everything for Thinking Outside the Chrysalis, The Black Woman's Guide to Spreading Her Wings, is on my website, which is honeybutterflies.com. It's honeybutterflyz.com. And all the resources for the book are under Black Girl Butterflies.
Okay.
Although the funny thing is that, you know, I have a lot of readers who are not Black. And I was talking to another group and they were like, well, we didn't think we could go on that link. And I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. So, but yeah, that's where all the resources are. And no matter who you are, you can touch the link. It's okay. And then there's the 12 affirmations.
Okay.
They're in the book, but I also recorded them. It's a little trick you could do yourself. Like you could record your affirmations so you don't have to have Post-it stuck on your bathroom mirror or whatever. And there's 12, there's actually more than 12 meditations in there, but there's 12 that follow along with the book.
Okay.
And then the yoga nidra practice. So you have to try that one, Kia. Do it like before you go to bed or at a time when you can just kind of lie down flat somewhere.
Okay.
It's about 30 minutes. And yoga nidra is like what we refer to as yogic sleep. So it's a way of resting the body, but keeping the mind alert. So it gives you more clarity. And then you'll call me later. You're going to be like, Trish, I just had a breakthrough.
I am. I'm definitely going to call you. Thank you so much. Okay. And how do you think being a writer has helped you in your life personally?
How has it been? That's interesting. I mean, for me, it's always been what I wanted to be when I grow up. Like it's always been my passion. And I had to figure that out because I was like, is it just that I like writing? But I think that it's really that I like teaching, you know? This book actually started off as a retreat. I was putting together a retreat before COVID hit. And the name of the retreat was Thinking Outside the Chrysalis. And then, of course, the retreat fell through. But I was preparing a book for the retreat participants. And it turned out that I think the book is more important because it can reach so many more people than 30 people or whoever might have come to the retreat. But I wanted to give you the last couple because I feel like I'm missing because I didn't give the last couple drops. I think I talked about drop 10, which was compassion.
Don't eat the dead.
Yeah, don't eat the dead. I love that. So every chapter starts with a quote, and the quote for this one is, "The living shouldn't eat the dead." I don't know who said it, but somebody said that to me once, and I was like, it doesn't even. I was like, it makes you pause, right?
Yeah.
And then work equals play, which is really about working with passion. Oh, I did talk about that. The last one is float like a butterfly, which is really about freedom. And when I get to that, it's kind of a way of putting it all together to create, kind of a self-love, self-care practice that is something that you can keep over time.
You have veganism in here. I'm a vegan.
Shut up.
I wanted to discuss that too. I didn't know if we should do it on or off.
Oh, we can do it on. Yeah, let's do it. Because honestly, all the people who've read this book, nobody says anything about that.
Really?
Yeah, and
when you first said it, I was like, cool. I'm gonna go back to that when we're done.
Yeah, because usually, well, if you're vegan, I don't know how long you have been.
Almost 2 years.
Okay, yeah. So people are sensitive when they feel like you're trying to take their food from them. So I thought that when I put it in there and people read it, that people would come to me and say, I didn't like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's included in the chapter on compassion, but I haven't gotten any feedback like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm all for it. And it's funny because I used to always, I'll take this part out, but I'll just say it to you. Right. So I love animals, right? Love, love, love. So being that we're speaking about compassion, I never really, because I was born, my parents raised me, we were meat eaters. This is what we did. Right. But I love animals and I never put it together. Right. Yeah. Like the compassion for the animals. Yeah.
Like for me, I never thought about it until I was in school and we did a case on the meatpacking industry. And it was so disgusting. Like I didn't know where Jell-O came from.
Right.
Until I did that, But, even if you are not 100% vegan, right? You could have meatless Mondays, or you could have an awareness, or you could do some things to maybe reduce your impact, whatever negative impact you may have. And I would say the same is true for porn. I would like to tell you, Kia, that I have never touched on this topic before, but it's cracking me up right now. So there we go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've never thought, like I said, the whole circus thing, definitely. I've never put porn into it though. And that's crazy. So.
Yes, the thing with me is sometimes I just be thinking. Like, wait a minute. And maybe too, because I have a daughter, I have a girl, and I'm just like, I don't think anybody goes and they say that's what I want to be when I grow up.
Right.
Unless there's problems.
Right. Yeah. Let me write that down.
What are you writing down?
I'm passionate about the porn stars.
I'm cracking up because I've never spoken about that before. But I mean, you know what? It'll make this interview different than any other ones that I've done. Veganism. Well, no, wait a minute. I think I did an interview with a vegan. I don't even think we spoke about it then.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that she asked me anything about.
And being that you touch bases on everything, on those two in the book. So it's a must to talk about.
I talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. Which is why I'm having so much fun not having to work for anyone else right now.
Right.
Because I worked as a financial advisor for 12 years and everything we do there is regulated. You you have to disclose, like if you make a campaign contribution, you know, when I wrote my first book, I was working, I had to disclose it. When I got my yoga certification, I had to disclose it.
Wow.
It's just a pain in the neck. So yeah, I couldn't, you know, even if you're not a financial advisor, just most regular jobs, corporate jobs, you know, there's always
Yeah.
somebody saying, well, what did you say?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, how can we find you on social media?
So I am most active on Instagram. My Instagram is vegan, VEGAN _ honey butterflies, honey butter FLYZ.
Mhm.
And on Twitter, first of all, I will tell you, I don't really know how to tweet. All I do is send my Instagram stuff to my Twitter. Although I tweeted something today because somebody tweeted something and I had to reply. But most of the time, I don't really know what's going on Twitter.
Okay.
But my Twitter is Trish Ahjel. So it's Trish, AHJEL. And my, what else? My YouTube right now is still Trish Ahjel Roberts. Oh, there's some good stuff there though. So I do a weekly inspirational blog.
Okay.
It's called Thoughts on Everything. You can sign up to receive it on my website. But on YouTube, I do a vlog. So I talk about whatever my blog was about.
Okay.
So I do the vlog. Yeah, my Facebook is Vegan Honey Butterflies. So basically the same thing.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about your book or your journal?
Well, I'll just mention the name of the journal again. It'll be available, today's Friday. I would say by Monday, it'll be available on my website. And it's called 12 Steps to Mind-Blowing Happiness, a journal of insights, quotes, and questions to juice up your journey. And it deals with the same 12 kind of drops of nectar that we spoke about. It just presents it a little bit differently because it doesn't tell my story. It just teaches the lesson. And it gives you a lot of space to journal and kind of work through your own stuff. Journaling is a really powerful way of developing personally and also healing, because like you said, usually our minds are always kind of just all over the place. And journaling kind of forces you to put it in a concrete place. So yeah, that's powerful. And the only other thing that I would tell you is that I am working on a webinar, or I want to do some sort of series to teach the lessons, you know, where people can either show up for something live or, you know, have something that's self-paced. So, yeah, so I'm excited about, you know, I want to see a self-actualized world beginning with Black women.
Yes, yes, I'm here for it. Listen, I'm excited.
Me too. I can't wait to get your feedback when you finish.
Yes, I'll definitely give you the feedback. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Kia. This was awesome.
Yes, thank you.
All righty.
Okay, everyone, that was author Trish Ahjel Roberts telling us about her book. Don't forget to like and subscribe below.